Breaking news, breaking bad news for Alec Baldwin. He is charged with involuntary manslaughter for handling the gun that discharged on the set of Rust, tragically killing the cinematographer of that film. Shooting was 15 months ago. An investigation has been going on during that time, and so we've all been waiting to find out what new information has been uncovered and what legal charges will stem from that information. Well, we're now there. And Alec Baldwin, while he certainly could have faced harsher penalties, is probably not going to be very happy with this development, especially considering the fact that, according to Adrian Lawrence, this particular charge, if he were to be convicted, could result in him spending up to 18 months in prison. He is not the only person being charged, though, importantly. The film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who is responsible for the guns on set, will also be charged with involuntary manslaughter. The film's first assistant director, Dave Halls, who handed Baldwin the gun that went off, agreed to plead guilty to negligent use of a deadly weapon. So we have a statement from the special prosecutor that had been put in place by the DA to investigate this. Says if any of these three people, Alec Baldwin, Gutierrez-Reed, or Halls, had done their job, Helena Hutchins would be alive today. It's that simple. The evidence clearly shows a pattern of criminal disregard for safety on the Rust film set. In New Mexico, there's no room for film sets that don't take our state's commitment to gun safety and public safety seriously. By the way, in addition to the charges, I'm sure that there's a lot that came up in the investigation that isn't yet public and might become public during the court proceedings. But we do know that for now, 5 additional live rounds were found on the set, including on top of the cart where the props were kept and in a belt that Mr. Baldwin was wearing as a costume piece. So the bullets, the live bullets, live ammunition weren't just in the gun, but they were literally putting them in the costumes. We have no idea how any of that live ammunition made it anywhere near a film set. But as of right now, that's what we know. Bridget, what do you think?
Wow, I mean, I'm no expert here, but I really gotta wonder what was going on that set, that there were so many live rounds just around. You know, when I first heard this story, I was thinking like, there's no way they're gonna charge Alec Baldwin. Like he was probably just handed a gun and told that it didn't have any live ammunition in it. But there, like you said, there must be some information or something that we don't know. But yeah, my heart goes out to the Hutchins family, and I really wonder like what was going on that set. It sounds like not a lot of precautions being taken at the very least.
Yeah, and again, like all 3 of these people, they're sort of lumping together and saying that if they had done their jobs, she'd be alive. And I agree that is literally true. But I also feel like the distribution of responsibility isn't even 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. I feel like the armorer has the bigger duty to make sure that you're not bringing live ammunition. Unless, and by the way, I don't rule out the possibility that there could be some sort of shocking development where Alec Baldwin was providing his own ammunition, but barring that, I feel like this isn't that even. Could he have checked it? Yes. I am not, this is not my world. Maybe he was supposed to. Maybe he is trained to do that. Maybe all of the actors are trained to do that. I don't know at this point. My guess would be that is not the case. My guess would be that if you are an actor and you are handed a gun, you have no reason to believe it contains ammunition.
Yeah.
Still, you have to be careful with it, and apparently he wasn't. And so I'm not saying like you. By the way, people are talking about like intent and stuff. You do not have to have intent for some crimes to result in legal ramifications. That's why it's involuntary. It's not about an intentional thing. There can still be consequences when you perfectly accidentally run someone down with your car. That said, and I'm not like the biggest fan of Alec Baldwin or whatever. I'm not doing this because like he made fun of Trump, so we gotta have his back. But it really does feel like, Bridget, he really had no reason to believe that it had bullets in it. I don't know. What do you think?
I completely agree with you. I wonder like, if I was an actor on a set, I would not even know how to check a gun to see whether or not it has live rounds in it. Maybe there's something that we don't know. Like, was he also a producer on this film? I'm just like really curious. I also wonder, and again, this is not my area of expertise, so what do I know? But I wonder, is it standard to use real guns in film? And how long has that been the standard and why? I would wonder like, at this point, isn't it possible to have replica guns or guns that don't actually fire. I'm very curious why a real gun and real ammunition would be on a film set.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions about what's happening on sets in general, but this set specifically.
Yeah, well, look, I will say that I have been in very few movies. My understanding, my vague understanding that I have absorbed is that they use real guns that can fire blanks that can't actually kill people under most circumstances, but still provide some of the effect of firing a gun, which can be useful in movie productions. Seems like it's probably time to switch that, I would say. And again, like you raised some great points. Like it's easy to just see, oh, it's Alec Baldwin, he was in the movie, he was just acting, that's the end of his responsibility. I don't know that that's the end of his responsibility. As you said, maybe he was a producer, maybe he was involved in this, maybe they had safety training where they were supposed to check the guns before they used it. All of this, I would wager, is going to come out during the trial, which we now probably will get. It seems a little bit off to me, but I'm gonna keep an open mind as we proceed into this.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.